Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching this week's edition of the Political Stock Exchange, and today we are focusing on the battleground state of Telangana. Till before the Karnataka elections, Telangana seemed one-way traffic in favor of Chief Minister KCR and his party, the BRS. Things now, though, seem a lot more interesting. Who has his nose in front? Who's trailing? What does Telangana look like right now? We'll get you the results of the C Voter Telangana opinion poll in this edition of the Political Stock Exchange.
BRS versus Congress versus BJP. Telangana's triangular fight escalates. Big guns boom in state of war. Whose stock is up? Who is sliding? Who has the edge in Telangana? Political Stock Exchange, big focus on News Track.
A triangular contest is heating up in the battleground state of Telangana. The ruling Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti, the BRS, thinks they have done enough development and welfarism to warrant another term in power for Chief Minister Chandrashekar Rao. The Congress, after Karnataka, thinks its graph is on the ascendant and that they could topple the BRS government this time. Rahul Gandhi is campaigning extensively in the state of Telangana. The BJP, though, thinks this is an opportunity to shore up its fortunes in Telangana and make this a second catchment area for the BJP after Karnataka in the south. So you've got a lot of alphabets being thrown around in the political soup of Telangana. I'll get you the results of the C Voter Telangana opinion poll in just a moment. Before that, here is our lead story from Battlefield Telangana.
The battle for Telangana has kicked off with a high-octane political showdown. In a triangular contest for power, BJP, BRS and Congress have now hit the ground running with their campaign. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi are leading the Congress's campaign, hoping to boost the grand old party's chances at ousting the KCR government in Telangana. From a temple visit to a bus yatra, the Gandhis are pulling all stops to woo voters for the Congress. But it's one taunt by Rahul Gandhi that has created political ripples in Telangana.
BRS, बीजेपी और MIM को देखिए, ये तीनों के तीनों कांग्रेस पार्टी पर आक्रमण करते हैं। देश में बीजेपी विपक्ष के नेताओं पर आक्रमण करती है, केस करती है, CBI लगाती है, ED लगाती है, इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट लगाती है। मैं आपसे सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं, आपके चीफ मिनिस्टर पे कोई इंक्वायरी क्यों नहीं हो रही है?
A team, B team, C team. It's all going down now between the three parties after this comment by Rahul Gandhi. Telangana Minister Rama Rao lashed out at Rahul with a C team jibe.
मैं तो कहता हूं हम बी टीम नहीं है, आप सी टीम हो, आप चोर टीम हो। क्यों भारत जोड़ो यात्रा एक पलटी ले लिया, वहां से महाराष्ट्र से राइट टर्न ले लिया, डिटोर ले लिया और सीधे चले गए अपना दिल्ली चले गए? क्यों गुजरात क्यों नहीं गए? डर रहे थे क्या कि कोई और चीज की डर थी कि कोई अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी? आज मैं राहुल जी को आश्वासन देता हूं, आपसे ना हो पाएगा, कांग्रेस से नहीं हो पाएगा कि बीजेपी को हराने की ताकत या दम आप में नहीं है, आपकी पार्टी में नहीं है, ये पूरा देश जानता है। आप खुद अमेठी से हार गए, आप क्या हराओगे?
The C team taunt was also further amplified by BRS after this video of a Karnataka Congress minister sitting in a pool of cash went viral.
In Hyderabad, Karnataka Congress ministers stationed here and found in visuals with crores of rupees is definitely raising a doubt of suspicion that Karnataka Congress is funding with all the commission money they have collected for the assembly elections here to send for their Telangana Congress party.
The BJP meanwhile has come up with its political theory of a Congress BRS जुगलबंदी।
कौन किसका बी टीम है समझना चाहिए। कांग्रेस पार्टी का बी टीम है बीआरएस पार्टी, बीआरएस पार्टी का बी टीम है कांग्रेस पार्टी। मनमोहन सिंह सरकार में केसीआर मिनिस्टर थे, राजशेखर रेड्डी जी का सरकार में बीआरएस का एमएलए सत्ता में थे। कौन किसका बी टीम है।
Rahul Gandhi now has become the #1 target of every political rival. Even before he touched down in Telangana, KCR's daughter K. Kavita dismissed his high decibel campaign and its impact. Calling him Election Gandhi, Kavita laughed off any Congress challenge.
राहुल जी को मैं तो राहुल गांधी जी नहीं बोलूँगी, मैं तो इलेक्शन गांधी जी ही बोलूँगी, क्योंकि सिर्फ और सिर्फ वो इलेक्शन के समय प्रदेश में आते हैं, अलग अलग तरीके के बात करते चले जाते हैं। बाकी के समय जब तेलंगाना के हकों का हरण होता है, तेलंगाना के हक में जो भी आने चाहिए नहीं आते, उस समय वो कभी भी तेलंगाना के जनता के साथ खड़े नहीं हुए हैं।
The big guns of every party have now kicked off their campaigns, sounding the bugle of an all-out political tussle in Telangana in the countdown to November 30th. Bureau Report, India Today.
What does the battleground state of Telangana look like at this moment? Which way are the political tea leaves blowing? To talk about this, I'm joined on this broadcast by India's foremost political commentator, my colleague Rajdeep Sardesai. With us, political analyst from Hyderabad, T.S. Sudhir. For political perspective, we're joined on the show representing the Bharatiya Janata Party, its national spokesperson, GVL Narasimha Rao. From the Congress, we have Girija Shetkar and we have Krishank Mane from the ruling BRS in Telangana. I want to run first the vote share projections for Telangana, which is really the most authentic indication of whose graph is going up and whose graph is coming down. Remember, seat conversions can be argued in different ways, but vote share is what you pick up by speaking to voters on the ground. It really gives you a sense of who's up, who's down. So here it is on your screen right now. The BRS picked up 47% of the vote in the 2018 Assembly elections. From there, 5 years down, C voters projecting at the moment that the BRS could be at 38. That is a very major loss of 9% vote share for K. Chandrashekar Rao's party, the BRS. That is a very big headline point coming out right at the top of this broadcast. The Bharatiya Janata Party was at 7%. They did well in the Hyderabad municipal elections. They're hoping that this can be their second big inroad in the south after Karnataka. Their graph is going up, more than doubling. But when your base is only 7 and you go to 16, you aren't converting votes into seats just yet. But for what it's worth, the BJP vote share up 9%. So the gain in the BJP equaling the amount of loss for the BRS. But that's not the real story. The big story there is that the Congress's vote share, according to this projection by C voter, and there'll be many in the tracking rounds in the weeks to come, C voters projecting that the Congress's vote share will jump from 28 to 39. That's an 11% gain for the Congress, according to the projection done by C voters. So with that first number, let me take you through first Rajdeep Sardesai. Rajdeep, an 11% gain for the Congress and 9% fall for the BRS. You know, even when the Congress people are looking at these numbers and saying, have we mixed it up? Are these for real? Or do you really think that that's how this election is shaping? And post Karnataka, there's been a real turnaround in the fortune of the Congress party in the state.
You know, Rahul, if your namesake Rahul Gandhi is watching this show, he'll be bursting with excitement. I mean, you've given him the kind of numbers that I think even the most optimistic Congress supporters at the moment are not giving their party. It clearly shows a certain momentum in favor of the Congress. It suggests what we've been picking up from the ground post Karnataka, that the Congress is on the upswing, the BJP is struggling at a poor number 3 at the moment, and the BRS is also losing ground. That's what we are hearing from various if you have your ear to the ground. However, the same people still tell us don't rule out Chandrashekar Rao and the BRS. They still have a strong organization on the ground. They have announced their candidates early and they've got a head start in that sense. They've got their welfare schemes in place. Why should there be such a huge swing away, which you're projecting of 11%? But if these numbers are right, because you've been suggesting this over your tracker over the last 2 months, it would suggest that the Congress's old coalition, Rahul, is returning to it. The Dalits, the Muslims, a section of the OBCs are coming back to the Congress party, and the decline of the BJP's fortunes, as per your survey, would benefit in that sense the Congress. So I think if the BJP doesn't cross a certain hump, if the entire anti-incumbency against the KCR government goes to the Congress is in with a chance. But I would be a little hesitant to predict Telangana just yet. We've seen in the past also there have been predictions of close fights, and KCR has pulled through in Telangana. He is still someone who can never be ruled out. He's a very clever politician, and therefore my sense is you're heading for a close fight in Telangana. And while these numbers will give Congress reason to smile, I think there's still a long way to go before they can claim they will capture Hyderabad. Just one last point. The fact is, this interestingly has often been a Congress-ruled state, in the sense, if you look at the old Andhra, the Congress would always do well in Telangana, especially in southern Telangana. So you would expect the Congress to have held its own after having given statehood. That didn't happen. KCR got that vote. Now you just wonder whether Mallikarjun Kharge, as a Dalit President of the Congress, the success they've had in neighboring Karnataka, Muslims slowly returning back to the Congress fold, is all of this now converting Telangana back to the state where, interestingly enough, Indira Gandhi, when she wanted to make a comeback, chose Chikmagalur in Karnataka once and Medak in Andhra Pradesh, in the old Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So that will give the Congress some confidence, but your numbers will have them whooping with joy.
I was speaking to a Congress strategist a few days ago before these poll numbers came out, and while he did speak of a turnaround in the Congress's fortunes, he still felt that KCR and the BRS was ahead, and he hoped that in the weeks to come that would change. But at that time, the Congress's own internal reading was that the BRS is still in front and we're trying to catch up. T.S. Sudhir, Yashwant Deshmukh and his team at Sea Water predicts that while this is a very tight fight, they're actually giving 1% more votes to the Congress than they are to the BRS. You're in Hyderabad. You speak to a lot of people across the state. How does this compare and contrast with what you're picking up anecdotally?
Well, I would still say the BRS has its nose ahead right now in the race, but we are still about 6 weeks away from date of polling. A lot could actually change in the next 6 weeks. But having said that, one would say that the Congress is actually having the momentum right now. The BRS advantage is that it announced its candidates in the month of August. In fact, most of them have finished one round of campaigning. That's a huge head start over the other two parties, where the Congress has announced the names of their candidates, only half of them earlier this week, and the BJP has not even announced its list. So in that sense, the BRS has had a huge head start. The problem for the BRS is that, one, the anti-incumbency against the sitting MLAs. Chandrashekar Rao actually has taken a huge risk by actually renominating over 90 of them out of the 100 odd that he had in the 2018 assembly. So in that sense, the anti-incumbency against the MLAs could be a major negative as far as the BRS is concerned. And KCR would hope that the voters actually vote in his name for his face rather than go for the MLAs. That's factor number one. The other thing which could possibly go against the BRS is that after 10 years in power, there is a certain sense of fatigue which has set in. Would that be a major factor? In fact, one of the slogans going around in rural Telangana is that, okay, we have given them a chance for 10 years. Why not give the other party a chance now? Will that sentiment catch up? And the third, of course, KCR would hope that the welfare schemes would fetch in rich dividends as far as the BRS is concerned. But the Congress is trying to match up with the 6 guarantees. So if the 6 guarantees actually gains traction over the next 6 weeks, that would be a big headache as far as the BRS is concerned. So BRS right now, I wouldn't say in an exactly very comfortable kind of position. And the last one factor is that since he has renominated a majority of these MLAs, the second rung and the third rung leadership of the BRS feeling a little aggrieved, because they were obviously, many of them are corporators, councillors, Zilla Parishad members, Mandal Parishad members. Many of them would have hoped for an MLA ticket so that they could get promoted up the political ladder. Now they would have to postpone their those prospects for the next 5 years, and that is not something which many of the second rung and the third rung leaders in the BRS are really liking.
Krishank Mane, this is not good news from the BRS's perspective. You knew that there is some anti-incumbency, but because of welfarism, because of development, you were hoping to still sail through, keep your opponents behind. This poll, for the first time, is suggesting not just is it a dead heat, they could also potentially have the Congress a little ahead of you. What's your strategy to try and turn this around?
Well, Rahul, I wish I could keep the Congress happy at least till the show ended, but we cannot afford to do that. You know why? I have this 2 copies with me. One is a tweet from the official Twitter handle of the Telangana Congress, and one is the Sea Voters survey report. Both of these are the Sea Voter survey reports of November 10, 2018, when Telangana Assembly was ahead of polls in the 2018. And you know what, Rahul? Interestingly, the same Sea Voter survey predicted 64 seats to the Mahakutami of TDP and Congress and 42 for the then TRS, today BRS. You know, Sea Voter survey is coming up with the same stats or the figures wouldn't make us bother at all, because in 2018, the same KCR gave a headstrong ahead with a victory. And in fact, for many, the cephalogists or poll surveys, not to believe that we got 88 number of seats instead of their 64, which they've given to the Mahakutami. So I don't think even now we believe in these surveys, because one thing.
Okay,
see,
let me just point out to our viewers that Yashwant Deshmukh unfortunately is not with us today. That's because there's been a bereavement in his close family circle, so he's not there today. But these are the numbers for what it is. He's got a good track record, and obviously if you've been in business for long enough, there'll be some poll which is an outlier and which you get wrong. But the fact also is, even if I leave Krishank Mane, the seat share conversion, which I haven't come to aside for a moment, the vote share, because it's a representative scientific sample, tells you, A, it's a dead heat. Forget whether the Congress is in front of them. We can quibble about that later. It's a tight election. B, the data suggests that there is anti-incumbency against your government, and in particular against your MLAs. That much is pretty uncontestable, even if you argue about the seat share conversion.
Rahul, now, see, I don't sit in Delhi and judge. I'm there here on the ground, because the Congress has still not feeded all its candidates yet. The Gandhi Bhavan currently is locked down because there are protests outside the Gandhi Bhavan that their seats are being sold to outsiders. There are protests against their own PCC president. At AICC War Room, there are protests. We have announced our candidates. The B forms have been distributed. The candidates are in campaign. Our front runners, our working president, Mr. KTR, Minister Harish Rao, have already, at an average of a day, 3 constituencies per day have covered in election campaign. Our main star campaigner, our USP, our Chief Minister KCR, also per day 3 constituencies. We've already covered our first schedule of campaign. Our manifesto is announced, and we have the confidence that people of Telangana will bless us, because the agenda is absolutely development. It's not the 5 hours of current in Karnataka. If Congress comes here and speaks about Karnataka, everyone knows what is the issue there with the electricity in Karnataka. So here, 24 hours of power, that will be the game changer. Water, we have addressed the issue of water. That will be the USP. Welfare state, pensions. When it was Congress, it was 200 rupees.
Okay.
Today we have delivered. So we are taking out this into the people, and we are confident that people of Telangana will bless KCR strongly again.
Now, GVL Narasimha Rao, the BJP's calculation was that Telangana could be the next Karnataka, the second gateway to the south. This data by Sea Voter, your one-time friend, contemporary Yashwant Deshmukh, seems to suggest that the BJP, of course, is going up on a very low base, but the kind of gains that you were hoping for haven't spread much beyond the municipal area of Hyderabad. So you haven't grown across the state. You come from very near Telangana. How much of a disappointment is this, that you had a certain amount of momentum at the time of the municipal elections, you thought you would build on it? From there, the BJP's campaign in Telangana hasn't really taken off. 1 and 2 we can still squabble over. BJP at this moment seems settled into third place.
No, Rahul, you see, the polls have always found it difficult to predict Telangana, because in 2014, post formation of Telangana, there was a huge hype and hope that Congress would do very well because it gave Telangana, and BJP supported Telangana. TRS campaigned for it, but really it was Congress BJP which delivered. But people of Telangana surprised political parties. In 2019 also, there was a big hype about Congress winning Telangana. It didn't come through. In 2019, nobody expected the BJP to register a threefold increase in vote share to about 20% and win 4 seats. So therefore, Telangana voters have always surprised political parties. And this election is likely to be, a hung verdict, because TRS has substantially lost ground, and we have considerably gained. With gains, BJP will convert them into seats because our votes are more concentrated. Even if you look at 2019 parliament election, we polled less than the Congress. We polled 19.7% and the Congress polled 25% in the Lok Sabha election. Yet we won 4 parliament seats and Congress won only 3. So we have a favorable distribution of vote. So even if the Congress were to get 30% and BJP were to get only 20% or 18%, we would still have an advantage in terms of seats. So we believe it could turn out to be a hung assembly this time, and BJP will certainly make big gains, if not all over the state, in regions where we have a possibility of converting them into seat wins. So certainly our tally in the assembly is likely to be significantly high and very impressive.
So you're saying your votes are concentrated, and therefore even if the overall percentage looks low, you're hoping for better seat conversion. Girija Shetkar, this data from Yashwant and Sea Voter would surprise the Congress, because while of course you think you're bouncing back, an 11% increase in vote share is arguably more than the Congress's internal polls are suggesting.
Rahul, that is wrong. It is not a surprise for us. Actually, our internal poll are projecting more than what the Sea Voter is projecting. And it's not just a Sea Voter. The own intelligence reports of KCR has suggested that he is going to lose if he selects the same candidates that he has selected before. But he has no options but announce the list prior, and they have nothing to go out and campaign there, because their manifesto was released just very recently, and the manifesto is just a copy of Congress. If we say we'll give 1,000 rupees, they will say 2,000 rupees. They say Congress cannot do these guarantees, but apparently the BRS can. And what has stopped them from these 10 years to not deliver these guarantees? The second time, the people of Telangana believe that we need at least 10 years for the new state to do some development work. But after 10 years, they have understood that it's only the KCR's family that has developed all the sectors in the Telangana. There's highest employment, highest rural inflation, highest corruption here. There's no work going on. The people are here ready to throw this corrupt government, which has sucked the blood of Telangana here. And how are these people? They are going out for campaigning. They had an edge for a month. But they are being welcomed with slippers, tomatoes, and whatnot. They can't just go out without any security, because they have no manifesto. And people are asking, did you deliver the 2-bedroom house? Did you deliver the Kaleshwaram project? They have not delivered KG to PG. There's so many flagship programs that have just been spoken about repeatedly over 10 years, but has not been delivered. The people of Telangana are not ready to believe this. Lies of KCR again and again, and this Congress is going to win at least 75% of the votes of the seats here. So we are not surprised where you constantly
so we've
keep saying
dealt
that we're
with
surprised.
vote share. I now want to look at seat share. Remember, for anybody who tracks data, vote share is far more significant because this is actually determined by how many people you speak to, what they're telling you about their voting preferences. So vote share is really the gold standard. Seat share conversions is where some algos come into place, where science has an element of art in it as well, and therefore you can squabble over seat shares. But for what it's worth, here are the C-voter projections for Telangana. This is what Yashwant and his team think the new Telangana Assembly could look like. The BRS's seat share likely to crash from 88 seats to 49. That's a loss of 39 seats. That's a whopping loss of seat share for the Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti. The BJP's seat share likely to go up from 1 to 8. That's 7 seats up for the BJP. The Congress, according to the C-voter data, and remember there are 119 seats in Telangana, so therefore you need 60 to form the government. The C-voter data suggests that the Congress could go from 19 to 54. So it still looks like a hung house, but the Congress at 35. And remember, if this data is correct, when you're still a few weeks away from the elections, it's possible that momentum builds in favor of the party that looks in front. That's the winner's bandwagon effect. So 54 is the projection for the Congress. Rajdeep Sardesai, given how far the Congress had fallen from 19, 35 seats up, at 54, Revant Reddy, Sunil Konagulu and the others in Telangana would be very, very pleased with these numbers.
You know, as I said, Rahul, at the outset, you're giving them an early Pujo gift. The fact is that these numbers will give the Congress great hope, certainly. But the truth, Rahul, is that it's, you know, there are two parts of this election which even these numbers are unable to predict. Because as you've seen, converting vote share into seat share is a nightmare in a state like Telangana, because there are certain pockets of influence that all parties have. Northern Karnataka is a dominant area for the BRS. The Congress stronger in southern Telangana, and there are two factors that I think are key. There are 27 seats between scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, 18 SC, 9 ST. I think those will be critical, and there are 28 in Hyderabad city. Now, if the Congress doesn't do well in Hyderabad, remember about 7 seats in Hyderabad are with the AIMIM of Owaisi. So Owaisi has already said, I will back KCR. So KCR starts with that advantage that he will probably get 6 to 7 seats of Mr. Owaisi firmly with him. In the remaining seats of Hyderabad, the Congress, which was a poor third when there were municipal corporation elections in 2020, the BJP did reasonably well, very well in fact, in that election. That will be the challenge for the Congress. Can you make a breakthrough in Hyderabad? Without that, I don't think the Congress can form a government. And can you sweep the SC/ST seats like you did in Karnataka? I think that these are the two factors that will be critical. There are pockets in Mehboob Nagar and Khammam, which the Congress in Nalgonda, which the Congress will do well in. There are pockets in Karim Nagar, other areas where the BRS will do well. Hyderabad, I think, will be critical, and the SC/ST seats. T.S. Sudhir made a point about anti-incumbency of MLAs, and that's well taken. I think KCR may have missed a trick in not dropping more MLAs. At the same time, because he's given them the early advantage by naming them, that's a small advantage to them. And don't forget the M factor, the money factor. This is a state where, like it or not, per capita, from what you gather from the ground, speaking to police officers, no other state has as much of money at stake quite like Telangana and neighboring Andhra Pradesh. So, do you have that cash 50
Well, maybe
crores,
Tamil Nadu does. I have a different theory, Rajdeep.
Maybe Tamil Nadu.
On money. Their
Tamil Nadu
voters,
will come close.
in my assessment, they'll take the money and they'll go out and do what they want. So the money is just a gift that you get. The gift doesn't necessarily fully influence your vote.
No, but my only point is, you see, the cash comes in different points. It's not just the cash you get at election time, but over the last few years, when you've got cash in hand through your Raitu Bandhu schemes, from your Dalit Bandhu schemes, all of this will be remembered at voting times. Look, there's no KCR didn't win 2019 because he got Telangana for the state in 2014. He won it because some of those welfare schemes had resulted in cash in hand. And I think we've got to accept that is going to be a factor. If that cash in hand becomes a factor, I think KCR will have the edge. If the Congress can get its social coalition right, then the numbers that you're saying could happen. But I think it's still going to be a fight for the Congress to defeat an entrenched regional party like the BRS.
And also remember that the BRS actually came out of the Congress, and therefore, unlike Karnataka, where the Congress is organizationally strong, in Telangana, it's over the last decade become a weaker force. There are lots of freebies that have been given by the Congress as well. So there's freebies galore. What becomes important in this context here, Sudhir, is momentum. Who has the momentum? This data suggests a hung house. But if you've got some momentum, then some of the undecided voters can swing in your favor towards the end. At this moment, from what you're seeing in the campaign, who do you think is carrying the momentum behind them?
Well, right now, I think basing on the kind of feedback that is there to KCR's welfare measures over the last 9 to 10 years, the age group of 35 and above seem to be more pro-BRS, broadly speaking. It is the young voter that the BRS would really be worried about, and that has been indicated to me by some of the BRS leaders also, that it is the 18 to 35 age group voter that they would be really keen on going in the run-up to the election, primarily because unemployment is a major issue, and that is what the Congress is also trying to target through its 6 guarantees, that they are trying to say that the first-time voter, the unemployed voter needs to trust the Congress that they would be able to deliver the goods if and when it comes to power. So the BRS concern would be the 18 to 35, and if this 18 to 35 chunk largely deserts the BRS, that could mean trouble for the BRS. The Congress campaign is mounting, but the big challenge for it would be, because we all know that the Congress is a divided house as far as Telangana is concerned. There are too many leaders, too many claimants for the top job. Would they be able to stay together like they did in Karnataka, at least for the next 6 weeks, or let intra-district wrangles break out, and that could mean trouble for the Congress party. So the Congress alone could defeat the Congress in Telangana. The BRS may not have to put in much effort, but the Congress right now is in a position where it thinks that the entire anti-BRS vote, entire anti-incumbency vote will fall into its kitty, with the BJP not anymore the kind of force that it was, let's say, in the month of February and March. You know, whenever it rains in parts of Karnataka and Bangalore.
No, so why do you think the BJP's campaign didn't consolidate? Because the BJP saw, Sudhir, an opportunity. Usually when they see an opportunity, whether it's in a state like Arunachal or in a state like Assam, they spot an opportunity, they can make it much bigger. Tripura. Why could they not do it in Telangana? Where did the BJP's campaign, which seemed to be getting some momentum, really come apart?
Well, I'll tell you an interesting anecdote. For a week in the month of August, there were about 119 MLAs from different states where BJP was ruling who were sent to Telangana, and they were all instructed to spend about 5 to 6 days in each of the 119 constituencies in Telangana. The feedback that they gave to the High Command was that there were only 2 questions that were asked to us in each of these constituencies. One, why was Bandi Sanjay, the chief of the BJP in Telangana, removed? And why hasn't Kavita been arrested yet? Kavita as in KCR's daughter. Because the BJP leaders were going around town claiming that it's only a matter of time before Kavita is arrested. And when that did not take place, of course the case is in the Supreme Court, but when that did not take place, the general feeling that went around was that there is a deal between the BJP and the BRS. Bandi Sanjay, a popular BC leader under whose leadership the BJP's graph actually shot northwards. They really started doing well. They did very well in the GHMC elections, and he was seen as someone who was getting under the skin of the BRS leadership. The moment they removed him without actually explaining what went wrong, the BJP stock actually fell, and as a result of which, ever since that happened, the BJP has been looking rather clueless and having lost the plot, and removing a strong BC leader, that also from North Telangana.
Let GVL Narasimha Rao respond to this, because Bandi Sanjay came from the backward caste. Now you brought in Kishan Reddy, who's from the affluent, influential Reddy community, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do, because you're trying to really build up OBC leadership in as many states as possible. You make this decision, it leads many to say the BJP and the BRS are in cahoots. So much so that the Prime Minister had to, in a rally, come out and speak strongly against KCR, say KCR wanted to join the NDA, etc., to dispel this notion that they were in cahoots. Do you think this is where it kind of went wrong? Because you need the likes of a Jagan Reddy, you need the likes of a K. Chandrashekar Rao, you need Naveen Patnaik to help pass legislation in the Rajya Sabha. Therefore, you couldn't go in as open throttled an attack at the BRS as you would like to. This charge of the BJP somehow being seen in Telangana, despite all your protestations, as the B team of the BRS and vice versa.
I think this is typically the campaign against the BJP by our political rivals, Rahul. The TRS, now the BRS, has never supported us in the passage of many bills, which was not voted on by other political parties. Mahila reservation, women reservation is something that every political party voted for. So BRS has never, ever, in the last 5 years that I have been a member in parliament, they never ever voted for the BJP on any bills along with the NDA. They always weighed in with the opposition. So therefore, to say that we rely on their parliamentary strength is completely fallacy. Regarding the so-called understanding with the BRS, again, this is more of a Congress campaign. There are no takers for it. We are principal opponents to the BJP, to the BRS. Prime Minister was scathing in his criticism. He revealed why, even when the BRS was willing to be a part of NDA, why he chose not to have them on board. It clearly shows our policy, our policy opposition to the BRS and its kind of politics. The Congress has certainly run this campaign in the media and in the social media to gain an advantage. But let me tell you, the so-called loss of momentum for the BJP is more of a media making. You will see how BJP makes impressive gains in this election, because even when we change chief ministers in states like Gujarat, in states like Himachal Pradesh, I remember all of you say, in states not Himachal, in states like Uttarakhand, all of you said, oh, you have changed chief minister, it's an acknowledgement of your failure, and therefore you're going to lose this election. We have proved all those predictions wrong. Therefore, our rise in Telangana will be,
but the big difference, of course, is that
despite the
a
change
state
of
like
leadership in Telangana.
Gujarat has an organizational machinery. Gujarat has a far more formidable organizational machinery for the BJP than Telangana, where the party is still a work in progress. But Krishank Mane, this charge that the Prime Minister leveled, that the BRS and the KCR actually wanted to join the NDA, that they were desperate to actually come on board the BJP's bandwagon, does that damage you? Because the Congress is, that's exactly what we were saying, that these two are in cahoots, that they're actually working towards the same goals, which is why Congress is the only real opposition. Did that actually work against the BRS, the Prime Minister's public statement that he wanted to join the NDA?
Well, I don't think so, because Prime Minister initially in election speeches, he also said that he was given a supari against to kill him, to eliminate him by the Congress party. Such kind of extreme speeches are always given by Modi ji. And in fact, the contradiction, Rahul, is on the same stage, he also said that we funded the Karnataka Congress. So if we are good with the Bharatiya Janata Party, why would we fund the Congress party in Karnataka? So that really is not working here, because even if Rahul Gandhi ji goes in West Bengal, he has called Mamata Banerjee as Team B. He has called Uddhav Thackeray as Team B. He has called Deve Gowda as Team B. So this is a regular rhetoric speech of the Congress party. But the point is, see, well, Rahul, the whole debate today is based on, because I will reiterate that it is based on a sea voter survey, which failed in giving an accurate result in 2018, because it was the same edge which they've given to Congress, which did not work out, because BRS won. But one thing, see, today, the point, like Sudhirji also has mentioned, I don't think, the age groups with the youth particularly would be a trouble for us, because when it comes to the conviction of the government, we have emphasized that while government jobs were, recruited, notified, we completed it. And at the same time, when we have taken up the responsibility of the private jobs, the government has ensured, because every time Mr. K.T. Rama Rao went to any conference, went to any WEF or Davos or any summit or met any industrialist, the interest was not investment or monetary development. The interest was always employment. Today, from Adilabad to Mehboob Nagar, from Khammam to Karimnagar, we have ensured that there have been jobs encouraged for the Telangana youth, and that has always gone through a successful, because someone like Kitex comes to Warangal, puts up a largest second apparel here and says, I'm here because KTR has ensured this has happened. If a Tech Mahindra or CN say that yes, this is the man who has ensured that Telangana gets investments and he is always emphasizing on youth employment, that is the certificate we want than a political certificate of the Congress. So that is definitely on the ground, and that has proven.
So all our guests have spoken. You know, as I said at the start of the show, a poll is just indicative. You know, it just gives you a sense of which way the tea leaves are blowing. It's not definite. And also remember, there are still a few weeks to go before polling day. And therefore, let's not jump the gun and say this is the final verdict. But it tells you that this poll is exciting, that Telangana is seeing a pitched battle, a battle that can go anyway, any which direction. And therefore, the next few days become exceedingly crucial. And Rajdeep, Panay and our entire team will be tracking this very, very closely for you. To all our guests, GVL Narasimha Rao, Krishank Manik, Girija Shetkar, T.S. Sudhir, and last but not least, Rajdeep Sardesai for joining me on this week's edition of the Political Stock Exchange. Thank you very much. We'll slip into a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you all the latest ground reportage being filed by my colleagues Gaurav Sawant, Ashraf Wani, Colonel Rajesh Pawar. They're in Israel. Ashraf is in Lebanon with the Hezbollah. We'll get you details that they've been sending us when we come back on the other side of a very quick break. You're watching the News Track.